So remain faithful in the relationship and not in your 3D BS. I'm going to answer one of my clients' emails. Her email to me basically looking for assistance in how to shift her observation and perspective of things, even though she didn't use that language. That's what this email is about. I'm going to actually answer her email to her through the video, and I know that this is going to help many of you guys too. Before I get into this, and I don't know what's going to come out, so usually the really good stuff comes out towards the middle and the end. So stick to the end because there's probably going to be some golden nugget of information that's going to help you during this particular time wherever you are. Before I get into this, please do like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel if you love my content. If you want me to be your coach, email me a short description to kim@coreunion.com. We will reply back to you with my next available session after you've booked on my website, and you can do a single session or a package. Most people do prefer doing the package because it makes it really affordable to meet with me more than once. All right. There's a breadcrumb story here, and there's some anxious stuff happening. She manifested her SP back, I want to say about a year ago. Sometimes when we're back in touch, not only sometimes, the majority of the time, when we're back in touch with our specific person in the physical, what is going to be reflected to you is going to be your dominant thoughts and beliefs. When they've come back, it doesn't mean that what's going to be reflected back to you is going to be exactly who you are to each other and what you are to each other and what you guys mean to each other in your end, because it's going to manifest physically in your 3D reality simply when it starts to take that turn where your dominant thoughts have solidified in your core, in the core of you. And so then your 3D reality also will solidify because it's a direct mirror. If things haven't fully shifted in the perfect relationship yet, this is just showing that the movement happened enough to a point within you that you trusted just enough and that you believed just enough to get evidence in your reality. So again, it's showing you your dominant belief. But what happens, which I understand why, but you don't want to do this, is, and this is just from my perspective, this is from my experience with myself and with clients and observing other people as well. If you stop doing the inner work and you adhere right back into the 3D manifestation, then what can happen is you can either keep yourself in this place of not having the full blown commitment, relationship that you want, and not living in your 3D reality, in your physical 3D reality, in accordance to what your end is. And it simply might be, and I'm going to use this word, but I'm not meaning to, please don't hear this the wrong way, but it's just that you kind of got laxed about things. You got lazy. And that will then, it's almost like your beliefs will slip back, because even though your new belief in yourself and in the love and trusting and knowing that you guys were created to love each other, it's as simple as that. That belief was taking hold just enough to see the physical evidence in your reality, but you still needed to stay with exactly what you were doing. It doesn't mean that you can't change affirmations up and change visual scenes and change imaginal acts. It doesn't mean that you have to do the same exact thing over and over and over again. You just have to catch yourself again, get yourself back in alignment and in trust, and go back to doing what you were doing before. But you can level that up too. You can make your visual acts and imaginal scenes and inner conversations with them deeper, more profound, more passionate. But then if you are interacting in the 3D and it hasn't fully solidified yet, don't give that too much of your energy and awareness, because if it pulls you back in, then you're going to develop kind of a breadcrumbing story. You're going to feel anxious again, and you're not going to be seeing yourself as being the wife, husband, partner. You're going to be seeing yourself as being somebody, this isn't working. I'm not doing something right. What am I missing? And so what happened was her birthday was coming up. She was worried about that. So she invited her SP, which again, she manifested him back, but she was feeling anxious. And at the very last minute, right before the birthday party, she invited him, but she was feeling anxious. And so that was reflected back to him, to her, and he couldn't make it. So at that point, what I would actually do, I would imagine that they were so excited to come to the birthday party. I would probably do a little quick little ho'oponopono, forgive them, forgive myself for being anxious and forgetting who the F I am and who the F we are to each other. And then I would go into kind of an imaginal act. Just imagine that they were there preparing everything together with you. And then imagine the birthday, all the other people that you invited, imagine the music on, imagine everybody eating and drinking, hear the sounds, see people enjoying the food, see people laughing, dancing, and imagine that they're right there with you. That's what I would do. What could have happened is after that, because you were coming already from a place of distrust, what could have happened is that may have slipped you further back into your story of not being a priority, of the two of you guys not being fully actually together and claiming each other. Then the night before she wrote me this email, she said in all caps, I was extremely anxious. Despite being extremely anxious, here's the thing. Despite that, she went ahead and she asked him if it was cool if her and her roommates went to something that he was performing. And he said, yes. For some reason, I'm still having anxiety about it. Something about the old story is still bubbling up. It's coming on to a year now since we started seeing each other again. And while my last year, I would have been thrilled. I really want to lock down and get to my desired outcome, my end. I don't know what shook me so much, but I haven't been able to shake my anxiety about going. And then here was the story, how to deal with the breadcrumbs in the 3D. The 3D is really 3Ding. I'm trying to live in the end as much as possible. So the first thing here is that when you were feeling extremely anxious, I would have stopped there and I would have just for a moment asked myself, I would have taken a few nice deep breaths. I would have laid down and got quiet. And I just would have asked myself a couple questions. Why am I extremely anxious right now? If I know that I'm the creator of my reality, that God created me in God's image to create on behalf of God, and that my desires in my heart and soul are what God wants for me, and that we created each other for each other, and that I wouldn't even want this so badly unless the end existed, why am I so anxious? I would ask myself some of those questions. And then I would remind myself of all of those things. And then I would go back in trust of my end. If you guys have a story that in the 3D, the person is constantly like kind of doing things with other people. And if you were to go to this particular thing, you would probably be seeing evidence of that, then don't go. Imagine that you are there and imagine that they're singing to you and this and that or whatever the case is, but don't actually do it if in the 3D you still believe, like say for example, and again, this is not for you, my client, this is for other viewers or subscribers. Don't go actually physically in the 3D and want to go to anywhere where you're going to be putting yourself in a position where you're going to be experiencing potentially old triggers coming up. Just don't go, but imagine it in your inner world. Stop where you're extremely anxious and step back. I know a lot of you guys are saying, but they said yes, and that's fine, but trust me on this. Stop in that moment because you have a story of not being everything. You have a story right now of that you don't mean as much to him as he means to you. So you need to look at that, release and let go, forgive, forget, get back in your power of in the end of being in the relationship. If you were in the relationship and you guys were married or living together, you would be excited about the show and you would not ask if it's okay if I go there or if I bring friends. You would just show up. You would just show up as the wife, as the partner, as the girlfriend. Or if you were a male watching this, as the boyfriend, you would just show up. wanting to really lock down, as you put it, your desired outcome I'm feeling into the energy of that. And that feels that maybe you've lost your patience. And again, bring it back to what I was saying in the beginning of this video. I think what happened is normal and natural. It happens to all of us. It is nothing to be upset with yourself about or impatient with yourself about, but somewhere along the line, you got impatient again because you started adhering into the 3D too much. So again, bring it back to your essence of being who you truly are, the essence of them, seeing you and them as being the ideal, having a story that you're being breadcrumbed. That is your perception. It's your perception that you didn't realize you were just slipping into that story again. When we get back together with our person, true love, soulmate, mirror soul, twin flame, no matter whatever you want to label it, when we get back together to them, it's very easy, get back together with them. It's very easy to slip back into the old story. So for the sake of your future and life together, continue to persist. Just continue to persist until you're actually in the relationship. And for some of you guys, if you're watching the video and you're like, I shouldn't have to do anything, any techniques or any methods at all, that's fine. You do you. I support you regardless. And I know that you can have everything that you want. If you think of the most massively successful people in life, whether it's no matter what the industry is, whether they're entrepreneurs or whatever, like I have a client, she's manifesting, her SP is a millionaire, and he has his mentor who's a billionaire. He still needs guidance. He still does inner work. So personally, when I see that in my reality, in my experiences, when I actually do my inner work with clear intentions, complete trust, and do whatever is necessary to pull myself up and out of the old fears, the old version of me, the old concept of me, my SP, and relationships, money, health, whatever it is. If I can see that I get clear, hard evidence in my physical reality when I am remaining faithful and loyal to my end, and then I slip into the old story, and then kind of everything seems to stop, this is simply going to remind me to continue to persist. You have to have a very high level of trust in what is in your core, in your heart of hearts, in your soul. Have the ability to forgive, truly forgive, forget, and tap right into that unconditional love, which is everything. If it's not in love, it doesn't friggin' matter. It's just fear, and you are not going to be living from fear anymore. And I just want to say one more thing. Sometimes you guys think that you're coming from a place of love, but I'm not saying that you don't love yourself and you don't love your person. But if everything is coming from this fearful love, that's not the true essence of who you actually are. That's not your divine nature, because in your divine nature, fear does not exist. So do what you need to do. I have a ton of videos telling you how you can relieve yourself from the old story, the old triggers, not reject yourself, love yourself fully and deeply, and trust in your end. So just binge watch the videos or watch them or reach out for a coaching session. Either way, don't manifest from your 3D, and don't manifest from your small self. Don't manifest from a fearful place. Manifest, let go of all of that BS that's causing that, and then get in your power and stay in your power. And remember, in your end with your person, you are together 24/7. I'm not saying you're joined at the hip, being like codependent with each other, but you're together. You're in the relationship. You are in it. So remain faithful in the relationship and not in your 3D BS. Okay? So make a choice, choose it, and stick with it. And when you make a true decision, the Latin root of the word decision, which I'm not going to say it in Latin because I don't think I'll pronounce it right, but the true meaning of making a decision is cutting everything off. You guys haven't made a full, complete decision if you continue to F around with the old story. You cut that out and you cut that off, knowing and realizing that time itself is an illusion. What happened an hour ago, yesterday, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, 4 years ago, none of that even exists. All that we actually do have is now, and all of your power, and power meaning unconditional love, and unconditional love meaning forgiveness and forgetting and cutting it all off. All of that power is in your now moment. It's not connected to 5 minutes ago, an hour ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago. So if you've been persisting for a long time, please recognize that it's most likely that you've been persisting still kind of half in and half out, part-time believing, but then going into the 3D, checking the socials, complaining and ruminating about things with people in your reality, commenting under videos, my person this, my person that, my person this. Guys, that is creative. You're affirming, you're choosing, you're making those your decisions. So those are your decisions. So your reality is going to give it to you. Yes, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. They don't see me. They're breadcrumbing me. They don't see themselves as being good enough for me. They don't see me as being good enough for them. They're not choosing me. They're not prioritizing me. They're addicted to this. They're addicted to that. They have this condition, that condition, all of that stuff that you guys are constantly bringing up. Those are your decisions. Those are your choices. Okay. So I love you. And I hope that this video helped shift many of you guys. Please affirm down below with a heart and prayer hands that you have received this message, and please be who you actually were created to be and stop playing from this ego, fear-based version of you. You are more than this. Okay. So pull yourself out of it. If you need my help, I can help you. So I love you so much. Have an amazing day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Nothing can come, nothing can come, nothing can come between us.